Welcome to our podcast where we encourage you to look for opportunities in your life to see a beautiful view. I'm Candy.
And I'm Paul. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the word inspiration. We're going to share about what inspires us, what our listeners say inspires them, and how to be an inspiration to others.
We look forward to sharing with you again today, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hand I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going to. Well, I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you.
Welcome to the Beautiful View podcast.
Yes.
I think we have finally come down from our high from the Iowa Podcast Awards. Pun intended.
Yes, if you've watched our last episode, you know exactly what we mean by that.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
So what have we been doing this week?
Wow. Oh my goodness. We have had some exciting things going on in our house.
Yeah.
Emily, our daughter, bought her first big purchase.
Yes.
She was able to buy my mom's car, which is really special in so many different ways, but we're really excited for her.
Yeah, I don't know how she's doing that because she's purchased the car and the car is in Texas.
Yeah.
And so she's got to hold off and wait because the next time we go down to Texas will be at Thanksgiving.
So we'll bring it back with us when we come back, but yeah, it's a little bit of a timing thing, but
Yes.
she's a good sport about it.
She's being patient.
She's trying
patient.
really hard. Tyler got his school driving permit.
Which is awesome.
Passed his little driver's test.
Yes, he
and,
did good.
Oh my gosh, that means we don't have to get up and take him to early bird PE.
No,
at
we don't have
6:20
to
in the
be
morning.
up early or anything like that. He can just go take himself into school, and I think he's really enjoying the freedom of being able to do that. So,
Yeah, that's been
and
really nice.
It's kind of in Iowa, it's a little bit different. So you have kind of this graded introduction into driving because he's not yet 16.
Right.
So right now he gets a school permit, which
Right.
means that he could go to and from school. And
Yep.
that's about it.
That's pretty much it, which is nice because that's a gentle introduction for us as well.
It is, yes. Yeah,
So that's been really exciting. This week was also homecoming week.
it was.
At Bellevue High School. So lots of excitement around that. Dress up days and the big game on Friday night.
Which they won convincingly. It was all over by halftime.
Yes, it was. And then on Saturday night, they had the dance and got all spiffied up. And
Oh,
Tyler
man.
and his little date looked so cute.
Everyone
looked
looks great. Everybody gathers down at the river for photographs.
Yep.
So that was the first thing in the day is we gathered down there to take pictures, and there was
Yeah.
official pictures, and then all the parents were taking pictures.
Yeah.
Everybody was taking pictures of each other.
Lots of pictures.
And then from there we went to Makokada and we ate.
Yes, we were the designated drivers for since Tyler can only go to and from school right now.
Yes. We were
Didn't figure the restaurant constituted as a school activity,
Not really.
so that was a little bit of a gray area. So we drove them, and it meant we get to have a date too.
We had a date. We sat aside from their tables so that we gave them their space to have their fun. And
Yep.
but we got to have really some great food. I've never heard of this before, but you need to try it if ever you get the opportunity. It's a cross between a loaded baked potato and a pizza,
Yeah, it was called the couch potato pizza.
and it was amazing.
It was carb loaded, but it was really good.
I'm like, you had me at potato. It was really, really good.
Yeah. So, but yesterday, before all the homecoming stuff,
Before all of that,
we started our day with a volunteer day at the Bellevue State Park. It was
Yes.
a statewide state park volunteer day, and our group that kind of pitches in, we all got together and got lots of weeds pulled and dirt moved and just some kind of cleanup things happening. So
we
it was a great group.
Tidied up the butterfly garden. There were guys up there cutting firewood for the campground. So yeah, we all kind of there was a good turnout. It was a really good turnout. Yeah. So that was a good time.
And probably the last kind of news in our lives is I've started taking on more of the managerial roles at our local brewery at River Ridge Brewing.
Yes, so you have.
That's been interesting and fun, and trying to just figure out the balance with all of that, with work and home and our business and all the things and the podcast and
all the things,
juggling and all that. So, but that's been good.
So today we are going to talk about the word inspiration. So are you feeling inspired?
I guess we'll see after this episode. The definition of the word inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative.
Yes.
We felt like this was a really great follow-up episode after attending the Iowa Podcast Awards.
Yeah, it is.
We definitely left that experience feeling inspired in so many ways.
And when we are inspired, we are filled with enthusiasm that makes us want to do better.
Yeah, and there are many things that inspire people. We actually posted a poll on our social media accounts asking our listeners and followers what inspires them.
Yeah.
We listed things like nature, music, art, motivational speakers, reading a book, attending church, alone time, and meaningful conversations.
And the top answer, interestingly enough, was nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So coming in right behind that was music and then motivational speakers.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've done quite a bit of research about this subject for this episode. So we're going to kind of deep dive a little bit into how inspiration affects us.
Yeah, we really appreciate your responses. That was kind of a new thing to do, a poll.
Yeah,
and,
thank you for helping us out with that.
Yeah.
The thing about inspiration that I find is it is contagious. Being around inspiring people inspires people, right?
Yes.
It's just kind of we found that at the Iowa Podcast Awards, didn't we? Just like, being around all these creative people that do amazing work challenged us to kind of step up our game a little bit, I think.
It really did. Yeah, I think everybody was catching the excitement off of each other. And so that was building as the event went on. And it really did culminate at the award show at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that could be said for even art shows for people that are into art or creative conferences. We've been to kind of those kinds of things.
Been to a lot of those.
Yeah,
I know when I was in production in church world, whenever we went to those creative conferences, we would pick up like little ideas because there really isn't anything like completely original.
Right.
So you often pick up on the way things are done and some new ideas, and you're like, okay, we can't do all of that maybe, but we can do some of that.
Right. So a lot of times we would take an idea, or even, we tend to brainstorm a lot on our walks.
We do.
And we'll throw out an idea, and then we'll kind of build on that, and we'll collaborate, and the creativity just kind of builds. And then by the time you take that initial idea, whether you got it from a conference, whether you got it from the Iowa Podcast Awards or whatever, and then you just kind of build on that, and then it becomes a plan.
Yes, it does. And I love it when we get to do that, because oftentimes when you're doing creative things all the time is you can kind of stall out and,
you get in a slump.
You're like, I don't know where to go on this. So that's oftentimes where, you'll say, hey, come in here. I've just written this. What does this sound like? And you'll read it to me.
Right.
Or like I'm working on something like a layout for a website or whatever. And I'll say, hey, what do you think about this? Is there anything that catches like your eye about this?
Yeah.
So, going back and forward that really helps.
Getting that feedback from other people is hugely helpful in a lot of ways, because a lot of times that feedback from other people might spur a little light bulb of something else. So
which is what they did at the podcast awards. Is we had that 30-second challenge.
Yes.
And what I really loved about that was it was the positive feedback. It was like there was some critiques in there, but it was done in a very positive way.
Yeah. So if you missed that, the 30-second challenge was where we entered our podcast into a challenge for them to kind of judge and critique the first 30 seconds of our podcast. So
yes.
We got some really great feedback on that, and that was really helpful to kind of help us decide how to go forward and shape that.
Yeah, because when you're in the middle of something and you're actually creating it yourself, oftentimes you can't see it the way other people see it. So
Absolutely.
That's very helpful.
Absolutely,
yes.
Yeah.
So some of the positive things about inspiration, like when we get inspired, that can give us some confidence in the ideas that we have, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So that gives us the motivation to kind of move forward with what we're thinking about doing.
It creates an energy, and you want to just go for it. I know when you come back from something like that, where it's real concentrated energy anyway, you come back and you're like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, you pick up off of what other people are doing. So when we got back, we were like, okay, so that was a great idea.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really fit us.
Right.
Or
yeah.
Or we thought, okay, so we should do like some of that, because that really seemed to engage us when we were there, and that would work for us.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. So to inspire people, there has to be like this
interaction,
and also kind of a little bit of a respect too as well. So I think the act of listening is huge. That helps people kind of feel considered and involved in things as well. So if you just stop for a minute and allow other people to, I think that can, when people are able to share with you, that inspires them.
It does. We're also inspired by the comments that you guys leave on our social media and on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
As the podcast grows, those things will increase, and that's such a positive thing for us to just hear from you how this impacts you.
Absolutely.
And so we're often sitting here doing the podcast, and we're like, is anyone listening? But it's just really cool to hear that you are indeed listening, and the words that we have to say mean something to you. So thank you for encouraging us with your comments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think practicing gratitude can inspire us.
Yes.
Every morning when I wake up, I try to think of 3 things that I'm grateful for that morning.
Yeah.
And some days it's just coffee.
Which is brought to you by your 6-foot coffee maker.
My 6-foot coffee maker. Thank you, babe. But if you can think of 3 things that you're grateful for every morning, that sets a tone for your day.
It really does.
And that can inspire you. If you wake up feeling, the weight of the world on your shoulders and all of that going into your day, that makes it feel weighty. But if you can start your day with gratitude, then that inspires your entire day. We both enjoy watching cooking shows.
Yes, we do.
I don't know what that is, but and some of them are kind of silly, but it seems like every single time we watch a cooking show, one or the other of us gets inspired to go cook something.
Yeah, we have to immediately go cook.
There's usually maybe even a pause in the cooking show. I got to go cook something, then we'll come back and finish our show.
And I don't know if we're unique in this, but if you do cook, of course, we're just amateur home cooks. But
it can be pretty good.
It can be pretty good. So you kind of have this thing where I keep the ingredients that we have on hand in my mind somewhat. I'm thinking about, the ham that we have in the refrigerator. It's kind of in the back of your mind all the time.
Yeah.
So we watch a cooking show and we're like, what could we do with that ham? Right now, because I'm kind of, for whatever reason, feeling hungry right now. So
because we're watching a cooking show. I think some of those things are also true for watching This Old House or something like that, and
home improvements, the Property Brothers.
All those little things. Oh, we could tweak this. It inspires us to go spend our money and do things to
Go
our
to
house.
Lowe's. Go to Lowe's.
Go to Lowe's.
At least 3 times in one day, right? Because you can't go once. You have to go 3 times.
That is true. Yeah. So watching people do creative things. Emily and I love to watch like painting tutorials and paint along with them or whatever on YouTube. Those are really fun. Reading or listening to a positive story.
Yeah. Listening to other podcasts.
Listening to other podcasts, you know, and I mean, that's kind of what we hope our podcast does.
I like to watch kind of biographical documentaries. You know, the life of people that have really done great things in this country, or you know, moments in history.
Yeah.
I love those things.
Yeah, and those are inspiring too.
So something else that can inspire us is if we have goals in life, like, you know, if we've set ourselves things to achieve.
Yes.
I think that can inspire you as well, right?
Absolutely. And we've done that with our podcasts. We've done that with our business, with our finances. There are a lot of different kinds of goals that you can set in your life. And when you've got a goal, when you've got something to aim for, it inspires you to do the things that you have to do to make that happen, or to try to achieve that.
I remember during one of the workshops, there was a situation where I could see both sides of the story. So there was, so we had a workshop on specifically on marketing and social media.
Yes.
And so the guy there was talking to us about how to further gain more audience members for your podcast. And the one lady there, she is just really inspired by the guests that they get to interview. It's more of an interview type podcast.
Right.
And so she was like, well, I mean, I'm just really doing this because I like to talk to people, and I love the stories that come out of that.
Sure.
And I love to I feel like it's really having an impact both on me and my guest when we do these interviews.
Right.
And that's really the whole thing for me.
Right.
But the guy was then saying, but don't you want like your audience to grow so you have more people that can be inspired and hear those stories?
Right.
So I understand both sides of that. So there's kind of like a balance involved there in that, you know, goals sometimes, you know, you can. I always remember, like, we would have events in our previous careers. We would have events, and the question would be raised: how many people do you want to be there?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, whoever shows
thousands.
up. Yeah, I mean, like, whoever shows up is going to be there, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if there's a general sort of like goal of like, we do want more people to listen.
Sure.
Because if you have a story to tell and you have the opportunity to inspire others, then why would you not want that to reach more people?
Because as we said before, inspiration is contagious.
It's contagious.
So that's our hope, to spread a little bit of that, and for then our listeners to carry it on.
Carry that inspiration on to other people.
So we've talked about all the things that inspire us. Let's switch gears just a little bit.
Yeah.
And talk about what it takes to be an inspirational person.
Yes.
Do you feel like you inspire people?
Well, that's kind of a weird question to answer. I'm not sure I can answer that.
Okay, I won't make you answer it.
All right.
So we're going to share 10 ways anyone can inspire those around them.
Yes.
Who can you inspire?
Yes, because everyone has a circle of influence.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we all have the opportunity to inspire.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it or not, there are many places that you have influence.
Yes.
Your family, your coworkers, your customers, your employees, your employer, your friends. The list goes on and on and on.
Absolutely.
The people around you in your circle that you do life with, or that you see on a regular basis, those are the people that you have influence with.
So what's the first thing that we can do to inspire others?
Well, the first thing we can do to inspire others is build them up. Compliments, positive reinforcement, recognition. I'm about to have a lot of opportunities to put this into action, so
Yes,
no pressure.
In your new role.
In my new role at River Ridge. I've worked there for a while now, and I get to meet some of the most amazing people that come through there. Our brewery is very family friendly, and The other day I was in there and there was a multi-generational family that came through. The grandma and grandpa, mom and dad, the kids. The kids had a blast with the sidewalk chalk.
Oh, they
and
did.
all the things. So,
And the giant Connect 4. And,
oh yes,
yeah.
all the kid friendly things. So, but the grandpa, he kept coming in. He was the one that came in and got the food when it was ready. He was the one that brought the dishes when they were done with them. He just kept bringing things in, and he made a joke about that he was the waiter for the day or something like that. And
Yep.
I just looked at him and I said, "No, I think you're a servant. I see a servant's heart in you." And he just stopped for a minute.
Yeah.
And,
A little bit freaked out.
yeah. And he said, "Well, I think you're right. I was a pastor for 25 years and a chaplain for 10 years." And I said, "You know, some people you can just see that in them."
Yeah.
And he was just blown away. But do you think he walked out of there feeling inspired that day?
I think he felt very encouraged.
Yeah.
Because, there wasn't a lot of people down there, so it wasn't like there was a lot of people to see him do what he was doing.
Right.
I think he was working for his audience of one.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I think that recognition, I think that really
And I
encouraged
think
him.
it's really cool that I felt inspired to say that. That wasn't me.
Right. Exactly.
That wasn't me. So that I call that a little Holy Spirit moment that, that when those promptings come on, and I try when those things come on to just let them come out of my mouth, because I've learned that usually those are the things that do inspire people. So.
But everyone has an opportunity to do this. Like whoever you do life with, whoever you're working with, just look for those things that they're doing that are worthy of a compliment. Like it doesn't have to be this earth-shattering, like major, like magnificent thing that they've done. But even if they've, paid attention to something and
even little things like with our kids.
Yeah.
I think that's hard sometimes. We tend to be a little more critical of our kids.
Sure.
I think so. But just little bits of encouragement sometimes go a long way, even
They
with our
really
kids.
do. Yeah.
So
Yeah. So this weekend we've had an opportunity to volunteer at the state park, and even up there, everybody was complimenting each other, and that looks really nice. Now, what are you doing there? Oh, that's cool. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That
And
was
then it's
really
like,
cool.
I'm going to do it even better.
Yeah, I'm going to do it even better.
I know you love this second one.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Be enthusiastic. It's contagious. I get a lot of opportunities to be enthusiastic,
Yes,
and I'm
you
a fairly enthusiastic person anyway. Paul struggles with that a little bit.
Well, I'm a little more subdued.
You're a little more introverted, so
you know,
that's
when,
okay.
When we're there, like I'll be out on the patio at the brewery next to the river, and I will hear your laughter and your chit chat from inside, like carrying out through the windows and the doors to the patio outside, and it makes me smile because I know she's having fun. And I know that, she's interacting with people. That's not so much me. I'm more introverted.
That's okay too.
And
introverts have their place in inspiring people as well.
I will take the opportunity to, like, if I see someone that is, like they say something and they get maybe a little choked up, like there's something they're going through, like I'd like to sort of pat them on the shoulder and just like, so I'm more that
You're
end
more
of the spectrum.
of the kind of the listener.
I love to listen.
You're a great listener.
And oftentimes when you look for opportunities to listen, you might not say anything that's amazingly sort of inspirational, like a quote that you can write down and put on social media. But just by the act of listening, the person will feel like that you've said they feel heard, they feel seen, and that can be very meaningful.
Absolutely. I love that.
And third, have integrity. Let's be consistent with our values, our actions, and our words, and our treatment of others,
Yeah, that's really important because, if you're constantly kind of fluctuating on...
If people don't know how to take you, like they don't know where you're at,
your attitude. If you
Yes.
come in with a different attitude every day and they don't know where you're at, if you're going to be in a good mood or a bad mood when you walk in the door, it's hard to navigate.
It really is hard to navigate. So be consistent. If you are the type of person that can be enthusiastic when you're working with others or when you're around others, then always be enthusiastic. Look
or at
for
least try to.
At least try to.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is be empathetic.
Yes,
That is a big word,
it is.
but it means to care about people.
Mm-hmm.
Their mental, their spiritual, their emotional, and their physical well-being. Just to reach into their lives and care about them. So if we constantly keep everybody at arm's length all of the time,
Yeah.
that makes it harder to develop relationships. But if we genuinely care about people and we kind of stop to listen to the things that they are going through or have to share, then that builds that rapport with people.
Where they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And they feel
and
like...
it inspires them to maybe be that for someone else,
Right,
too.
right. And I think also is to bear in mind that no matter how tough the exterior of someone else, we all have emotions. We all have things that we carry with us every day. And so make sure that you're watching your words with other people. I am of a category of people that loves a little bit of sarcasm once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that can be funny, and other times it can really hit a little harder than I intend. And so we've always got to be conscious about the way our words impact other people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Number 5 is to maintain a positive outlook.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, that's not like pretending that life is always good when it's not,
Oh, absolutely.
but it's about accepting the reality that you're facing and choosing to meet it with a healthy optimism.
Yes. Life isn't always perfect,
No,
but
it's not.
you choose how you want to be, kind of like the gratitude thing. You choose whether you want to be optimistic about things or whether you want to be negative about things. So that's a decision that you make.
Yes.
So maintain a positive outlook. Those people that come in, we all know them. We know the people that walk in the door and you're like, oh, so-and-so is here. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I aspire to be that person. I don't know that I always am, but I try to be. So, but we all have people that come to mind that we think of when we think of someone like that. So,
Exactly.
Number 6 is practice gratitude. And we've already talked about this a little bit, but it's so important to remember all the wonderful blessings in your life. Your
Yes.
gratitude inspires others.
It does. Number 7 is to stand your ground. It's important to be consistent with our personal values, ethics, and beliefs, and have a healthy approach to life in front of other people. When someone comes to us, they need to be able to know that they're going to get the response that they expect. Like if they come to you and you give a different answer every time, then you're just being wishy-washy, and no one likes someone. No one knows how to deal with someone who's wishy-washy.
Right. Yeah. I think that's really important. I think, to be kind of bold in who you are and be confident in who you are.
Right.
I think that inspires other people because I think that is, they know if they need a specific thing that you're the person to go to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It gives them confidence that if they're coming into a work environment, then this person here is in charge and they are going to be doing this.
Absolutely.
And so it'll be fine. Everything's going to be fine because they're there, know?
Number 8. Set clear goals and strive to achieve them.
Yes.
It takes a lot of self-discipline and dedication to achieve your goals, right? So if you've got something set that you want to try to achieve and you actively are putting in the effort to achieve that goal, then
follow it through.
Follow it through.
Yeah.
And what that does is people watch that.
Yeah.
and it inspires them to want to get in on the action a little bit too.
Yeah,
sometimes,
absolutely.
like if they can get that, especially like in a work situation. So say you've got a boss, right, who has big ideas, and they're not just someone that says, okay, you go do that, you go do that, you go do that, you go do that, but they're someone that's actively also
A visionary.
Yes, a visionary, but a doer too.
Yeah.
Somebody that's trying to make it happen, but they're inspiring all the people around them to
Yeah.
make it happen too.
Yeah.
I think that is one of the most empowering things and inspiring things.
It really is, yeah. And that's why it's so important that when we're setting goals, that we take the time to think about it before we set them.
Absolutely, yes.
Because if you set unrealistic goals that you're not planning on following through with, then that does have a negative impact.
It does,
on other
absolutely.
people. So
Yeah.
be careful when you're setting goals. Number 9 is to have passion.
Yes.
You know, be passionate about your life. Be passionate about your goals, your dreams, because that's attractive to other people. It's appealing and it's contagious.
It is, absolutely. Absolutely. And last but not least, number 10, challenge others.
Yes.
Now, continually challenging, we're not talking about pestering and nagging. That's something totally different. But challenging those around you, it inspires brainstorming
Yes, it
and creative
does.
thinking, new ideas. So, maybe you have a big idea for something new in your workplace, okay? And you go to your boss and you say, hey, I was thinking, XYZ.
Yeah.
And they're like, never thought of that before. I mean, that challenges them to think about the next thing, to brainstorm a little bit, to kind of be creative in what they're doing and go to the next thing. That's huge.
It is. So I know what you're thinking. This is all great, but how do I start putting these things into action?
Yeah.
Well, just start with picking one thing to work on at a time. Take one of those 10 things and look for an opportunity to work on that.
Absolutely.
Maybe include one of those action steps in your day each day. Or maybe look for opportunities to include aspects of all of those 10 in your day at some point or another.
I think overall, inspiring others is based on your attitude.
It really
is. That's a huge part of it. So if you can just set your mind and set your attitude that I'm going to be an inspiration today, I know that's a huge thing to do, but that's, if you walk out of your house and that's your attitude, then that's what it will be. The rest will follow. Yep, absolutely. I think the most important thing is to lead by example and to show that you truly care about other people. There has to be a respect factor. And that respect factor has to be earned.
Yes. And show your appreciation.
Yeah.
If you notice someone doing something over and above, praise their efforts. People who feel appreciated and seen are inspired to do and be better.
Absolutely.
And it's so much easier and more effective to praise good effort than to keep on telling someone how to do something and then criticizing them when they don't achieve it.
That's so true. Constructive feedback is huge. We talked a little bit about this earlier when we were talking about challenging others. But when we provide constructive feedback, we show that we care about their growth and success. You can go online and you can leave a bad review.
Yes.
Okay. But if all you have to say is the negative about a situation, and you're not going to be part of the solution,
that doesn't do anything. It is so easy to drop, to go into a place, pick out everything that you don't think is going the way that you would do it, drop a bad review, leave a bad taste in the mouth of everybody that you aimed your barbed comment at.
Right. Yeah.
Walk out of the place and just leave it in a more negative position than when you got there. Right.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
if you have a situation where you're walking into it and you're like, okay, if only this was better, if that was better, and you do something about it, like you actually become a part of the solution. That's huge.
Or you have, good suggestions for ways to, not just criticize, but challenge. That's the word.
Yes.
So
Yes, I
I think that's really, really important.
So we talked quite a bit about diversity in our last episode,
yeah.
with the eclectic group of podcasters
Oh, yes.
that we were around and were represented at those awards in Cedar Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
So when you bring a group of people together from diverse backgrounds, different experiences in life, it brings a uniqueness to the table and stimulates creativity and inspires everybody around.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things we can all do to inspire others, and we are not perfect at this by any means, but pay attention to people.
Yes.
Pay attention to their needs. Pay attention to the vibes they're giving off.
Yeah.
Find a connection point. Find something that you can connect with them on. See others through the eyes of Jesus.
Yeah.
There's a story in John chapter 4 in the Bible that represents this whole concept so well.
Yes. And this story, you may know it. It's the woman at the well. Jesus and his disciples were traveling from Judea to Galilee by way of Samaria. And the disciples went to get lunch, and they kind of left Jesus behind while they were going to go get lunch. And when they came back, they found Jesus talking to a Samaritan woman. Now, this is, on different fronts, this is kind of unheard of.
Oh, absolutely.
For Samaritans and Jews to talk to each other, that just wasn't done. They had some fundamental disagreements that meant they really kind of didn't get on.
Well, and also the fact that she was a woman and he
She
was a
was a
man, that
woman.
was a whole thing as well.
He was a man in that culture that actually didn't happen. And then there was a whole nother level of the background of the woman that he was talking to. For the Messiah to be talking to someone who was leading the life that she was leading was kind of something that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
So these disciples came back, they saw the situation, they saw Jesus talking to her, and they were kind of caught off guard. It's like, what is going on here?
Yeah, exactly. We too may have low expectations of what God can do.
Yeah.
Why should we bother with the people around us?
Yeah.
You know, even when we try to reach out to them sometimes, usually nothing happens.
Yeah.
But, you know, Jesus took a different approach. He showed this woman compassion. He hung out with her when she pushed back. When he could have ignored or judged her, he started a conversation with her.
Yeah.
He showed her love. And he had compassion toward her.
Yes. And then he revealed his identity to her. In John chapter 4, verses 25 through 26, the Bible records that the woman said, I know that Messiah, called Christ, is coming. And when he comes, he will explain everything to us. And then Jesus declared to her, I, the one speaking to you, I am he.
Ooh, that gives me chills. Can you imagine? She is actually the first person that the Bible records that Jesus officially revealed himself to.
Yeah.
In that moment, her eyes were opened and she understood the magnitude of whom she was speaking to.
Yeah.
She was speaking to the Messiah.
Wow.
The one that they had been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
When the disciples returned, though, they had no sensitivity to the
No.
glorious moment that had just taken place.
Bless their hearts.
I know. That's in Texas, we say, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
We need to be more like Jesus if we're going to make a difference and inspire the people around us.
Yes. And this woman was inspired. In fact, she went back to the town that she came from and she told everyone about this man who told her everything that she ever did.
Yeah.
As a result, lives were changed, and many people in her village also believed in him.
Yeah. What an encouragement this passage is to us.
Yes.
To engage with the people that we meet every day. When we're inspired, we inspire others to do big things.
Yes.
And that is today's beautiful view.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you feel encouraged to do something this week that inspires you. Then take that inspiration and inspire someone else. Inspiration is contagious. So what are we going to talk about next time?
Well, every once in a while, we like to throw a serious topic into the mix.
Yes.
So next time, we're going to talk about something that is very near and dear to our hearts. October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And it also happens to be our daughter Lily's 17th heavenly birthday.
Yes. We realize this is a very sensitive subject, but we also feel like telling Lily's story can be helpful and start the journey to healing for some who, like we did at the time, feel like they're trying to navigate that road alone.
Yeah.
While we prepare to bring you that episode, maybe go back and listen to one of our previous episodes. You know, success means different things to different people. Money is only one form of wealth. You're rich when you realize some of the best things in life are completely free.
We actually asked our teenagers about this subject the other day, and they were really quick to answer with things like, of course we're rich. We're rich in love and family, friendships, experiences. They totally get it.
They do.
So join us as we discover together just how rich we are.
Yes.
In the episode titled We're Rich. You can find it in your podcast feed or the Beautiful View YouTube channel. If you know of someone who would enjoy this podcast, please point them our direction. Visit us at Beautiful View Podcast on Facebook or Instagram. Share our posts or share the link to our podcast. Also, you can watch a video recording of our most recent podcast on YouTube. The link to that is also in our show notes.
Yes, and we would also really appreciate it if you would follow, subscribe to, or leave a review for us on either YouTube or your favorite podcasting platform. These things are completely free for you to do, but really helps new people find the Beautiful View podcast.
Yes, and shout out to the Hopeful Few for the catchy theme song on our podcast. You can check out more of their music on Spotify or Apple Music.
Yes.
The links to those are in our show notes as well.
And just a reminder, please consider joining the Beautiful View Patreon. This helps us keep these episodes coming and cover our costs. Memberships are only $5 a month. The link to sign up is in our show notes and is also on our social media accounts.
We hope you have a great day, and always remember to look for opportunities in life to see a beautiful view.
We could climb a mighty mountain, float on down a winding river, travel back in time and face our future too. Oh, I'm not scared of where I'm going, 'cause I know whose hands I'm holding. Oh, I'd go anywhere as long as you're going too. And I'd go anywhere as long as I'm with you. Yeah, I'd go